I'm very happy to introduce one of my colleagues who actually has been around for the whole time that I have been here. And all the time when I speak to Thomas, I always get the feeling I don't know nothing. That might not be because that's actually the fact, but it's probably because he just knows so much. And whenever you start to talk to him, you should be sure to have enough time, because with being the CTO here at Probat and running our R&D department, he just gives an answer to whatever question you have.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, a big applause for Thomas Koziorowski.
Yeah, thanks for the nice introduction. Just waiting for the first picture of the presentation that I really could start. But let's start in that way. Smart, innovative, sustainable. All that are things we heard today, and I also learned again things in this morning in that way. Especially, I had another kind of slide therein without a cup of coffee. So marketing guys changed that. So I learned this morning why they changed that in that point therein. And there's also another thing James pointed out this morning. A lot of customers coming into our R&D center, and they came there, Thomas, show me how I could do the best cup of coffee. That coffee what I like, or the coffee my wife like? Of course, we are totally different in that way. So that is always the point on that. So we have to find the flexibility, and that is linked to smart, innovative in that way. What are the solutions we find to get that kind of information? So one of the things we developed, for example, is a color sensor. I just took 2 samples here in that kind of presentation. So everybody knows when we're talking about that. Also, Anne pointed that out. We need data. We need information, what happens during the roasting process in that way. And one of the things is color. Everybody's talking about color. What is doing there really? What is ongoing there? And when we're seeing here a trial, 3 different roasting profiles, and from top to bottom, the color curves are running there. In that kind of way, we see that we also have different colors during the roasting process, but at the end, we had the same color, we had the same roasting time. And how that will be influencing the taste in our cup, that's a question mark behind that. And that are information we would like to get to become to smarter solutions, to develop that things in that way, to give you an information, what happens during the roasting process, where I am in the roasting process, what happens there. And we could use that kind of information then really to develop and to support you during the roasting process so that you get always the right direction. To see with a new type of coffee, what happens there. There's a change in harvesting, things like that. So I directly could recognize that kind of information. So therefore, we need a lot of more sensors in the future in our processes to using that kind of data in the right way. Another kind of possibility, I took ground coffee. So ground coffee is always the question, degassing. How long I have to store that, when I could pack the coffee, what will be the best time for that? And also, we developed therefore sensor systems so that we could also say, are there time points in link to lean production, which help me to find out the right point of interest to pack now the coffee or to do other things with the coffee in that way, to always deliver the right quality to my customers in that way. Also, that are different kind of sensor systems we are using that. When all that kind of sensor systems information came together, what to do with that? Big data, overflow of data. So we have to take a look to make from that kind of big data, smart data, what we really could use for our kind of processes. And that is that kind of topic. There's another kind of topic linked with that, just a side story on that. Bill told we need more people also working in coffee, training on coffee, educate on coffee. That is thing virtual roasting profile. We are working now since 6 years on. There's one guy here in the room. 3 years ago, he made his master degree on that, and now he's working for one of our customers. So also there's that kind of linkage of education and things like that therein. And what you see here is we use that kind of data. For example, on the top section, what would be the best energy consumption during the roasting process to find the sweet spot of energy consumption, how we get that kind of heat transfer into the beans. So we do modeling that heat transfer into the beans. We could combine that kind of information together with other kind of information in the background, having some kind of analytics in the background, and we could simulate the roasting profile. And that's a blue curve there, simulation. And the white line is that what we really get later on out of the roasting process. So we have now the possibility to do upfront trialing out our roasting profile and getting really that result, what we would like to get in that way, to see that over the full time upfront in that way. Energy consumption, one of the topics, is linked to sustainability. So when we're talking about sustainability, we're talking about carbon footprint. So a typical cup of coffee, 60 grams CO2 carbon footprint. So later on we could a little bit calculate what was the carbon footprint only for coffee drinking for this day here, or for the whole session here. We did in that way. And therefore we also have to find solution, as we hear in the last panel discussion. What will be things we have to do in link to sustainability? So also that is that kind of windmill using green energy in that kind of way there. But the other topic is what we could do by ourselves. And that is also one of that topic. You see there also a picture. We could not do balloon rides when we're doing the factory tour here. Otherwise, you would see that photovoltaic system. That's also an investment we did with the new building. We invest also in green energy. They're using that for us in that way. And what is that linkage? Coming back to a cup of coffee. When we're seeing and talking about roast and grind is 5% of a cup of coffee in link to the carbon footprint. Hey, let the other guys do something, not we. Is that the right? No. Still, it's only 5%, but it's a visible process. That is a process we have in our hands. We have burners using in that kind of process. We're using energy in that kind of process. So we still have the possibility to react on that and to be active in that way. And that is also one of our topics there, still reducing that 5%, going really down to a minimum in that way. And that is one of that things to saying, okay, here I show a big industrial solution where we integrated engineering-wise all that kind of possibilities, what we could do to really reduce the energy consumption, to reuse the energy we had from the process itself. So the outgoing gases of that system is only 50 degrees. In addition, we put in very high emission standards, so better emissions than regulations set in that way by using a Proforta system, using green coffee preheating, recuperating energy in the system. All that are possibilities. And there are solutions for that available to doing that kind of things here. And that is also that kind of point. You don't have to do the full things, but just doing the first step is always possible. That's why we're using modular concept, to using parts of that. So clearly it costs money, yeah. And that's why we have that possibility to say, yeah, just start. And we have the option to add later on something on that. And so that is also the linkage to sustainability. And coming back, sustainability and energy, how that looks like. And especially last year, yeah, there was what could we do better? Could we reduce energy consumption in that way? And then that happens, the fuel type question. With popping up the war, we're getting the problem what kind of fuel type we could use in the future, especially here in Europe. When I talk to American customers, to Asian customers, think, oh, well, there's a little bit price increase. I just spoke this morning to one of our European customers, and he told me he pays now 10 times more for the gas than last year. So also that question is rising up, how we could work, could pay our energy costs in that way. How we could survive with our business in that kind of topic. And we have to rethink also their things about that. And we had a lot of discussions with customers, especially in the last weeks, how we could switch to other kind of fuel types. It will be affecting, again, the carbon footprint. But that's always a question between surviving and doing something for the carbon footprint. We also split it in that way. Yeah, we would like to do the best in that way, but sometimes the environment pressures in a direction we don't want to go. And we have to find, again, solution to come back to the right way. And that is also the point here. There are solutions available to come back to the right way. And we could bring up that kind of solutions to you so that you have the possibility to make the choice in which direction you would like to go in that way. And therefore, for example, natural gas, electrical, hydrogen roasting. You see, the roaster pictures are always the same. It is the same roaster we are using for that. In the middle, you don't see any kind of flame. On the right side, you see it on the right. Yeah, right side, you see it on the right side. The gas heated version, you see the flame. On the left side, you see the hydrogen burner. And you did not see any kind of flame. And that shows that it is a very good process. Of course, with hydrogen, when you're burning hydrogen, you don't see a flame, then it's the right process in that way. You just see that there must be heat. Of course, the yellow-orange part is the ignition part for the burner. So there must be a lot of heat there. Of course, it was running with 100% burner position at that time. But there's no flame therein. So also, we offer that kind of solution. Then the question pop up, but it will change the taste of my coffee. No, it won't. And also that we trial out. So getting the same roasting profile, especially there was a question with the electrical heated roaster also. How electrical heating, could we, the same flexibility we have with the gas burners, could we get the same flexibility really with the electrical heated roaster? Yes, we could. And we get the same taste. We could do the same things when the system is designed in the right way, and we reached that kind of things therein. And what are the other kind of good topics we could reach out? Is we also get reduction on the emission side. Clearly, of course, we take the gas away in that point, and also carbon footprint. So if we use green energy, we could reduce 90% of our carbon footprint. So there are still options available instead of switching over to oil or some other kind of things to doing that. It's much more easier for a small roaster, I have to say, than for a big roaster, yeah. But also for the big roasters, we have developed some kind of concepts to doing that. It will not be so easy. For example, just calculating for the biggest roaster in the market, Jupiter 5000, means 5 tons per hour, batch size 750 kilogram. We need 3,200 kilowatts as heating energy. But we had a solution for that. We are ready in that way also to work on that. We have the concept, how that will be working. There's always then a problem with the electrical grid on site to working with that kind of things. But there are possibilities in that way. Are there other kind of options which could be used in link to gas? Yeah, there will be. For example, biogas. We had running a biogas installation with a P25 roaster using the spent ground coffee, coming back to the roastery, running there a specialized biogas system for that kind of waste coffee. And we will produce that gas, what we need for roasting, by that biogas system. And in addition, we run 3 cars for that company with that gas, what we produce from that. So we're producing more gas from that spent coffee, which is coming back, than we need for the roasting process itself. Also, there are possibilities in that kind of thing. And as Wim said this morning, maybe I will be the head nerd in the company, but then it's a question what he will be. Of course, he will be my boss. So what title he have then? Well, I will be the head nerd in that way. Yeah, it was 2.5 years ago when we were thinking about hydrogen fuel. Could we use hydrogen fuel? At that time, nobody was really talking about, yeah, hydrogen fuel. 4 weeks ago, a German magazine, Focus, a very famous magazine here in Germany, the head title was Hydrogen, Our Future. So also, we worked in the right direction over that years, and there is really a possibility with hydrogen to find solutions with hydrogen roasting in that way. Hydrogen could be easily produced in that way. And I really could say we get, on the roasting side, we get the same roasting result, also when you do it in the right way. Designing the process in the right way, we get the same results like with a normal gas-heated roaster. And when it is green produced by using green electricity, we also have carbon footprint, which is very low in that kind of way. There is still, at the moment, that point to get hydrogen. It's easy to get it bottled in that way. In bigger volume, it's not so easy. But also, that concept is now popping up. So you could have your own installation on site, producing your own hydrogen. That means you are independent with your fuel, what you are having. Producing your own fuel. You don't need any kind of gas company to deliver that kind of things to you. So that is also one of the big topics there. And to show it to you, all of that things, what you have seen during the presentation, if it will be digital solution linked to fab scale, linked to virtual roasting, if it will be environmental solutions, if it will be control things, smart solutions, if it will be hydrogen roasting. You could see later on in the experience sessions. You could take hands-on there, could take a look, discuss with our teams. Of course, it's always a development of teams what we are doing there to find that kind of right way. And also one of the topics we had there, you also find in the app, there will be a survey about what your thinking is about fuel types, directions with hydrogen in that way. And it would be also nice if people, especially who are not thinking about hydrogen in that direction, also fulfill that kind of survey therein to see really is that the right direction in that way. And therefore we could say, we are ready when you are. Thanks.